Hey YouTubers, this is a video that I have been meaning to do months ago, okay? This is going to be my guide to contouring and highlighting. Now the reason why I waited so long to make this video was because at the time when people were asking me for it, I was still discovering ways of learning this technique myself, so I didn't really feel comfortable until I had it down packed, sharing it with you guys. So there's a few different ways that you can contour. You can contour and highlight with cream products. You can contour and highlight with powder. Basically, the concept of contouring is any low point of the face that recedes, you want to just basically make it look more sunken in. Now, that's going to sound a little confusing, but perfect example is when you make this face. Now, the hollows underneath, not along your cheekbones, but underneath, taking a darker shade and creating the illusion that there is a shadow underneath there. So it's going to make your cheekbones pop out more. Now on the high points of your cheekbones, you're going to highlight to once again make them pop out more. On the high points of your brow bone, that's why you highlight, you want that point to stand out a little bit more. And in the crease, where that area recedes, is where you contour, or you're using like darker socket colors to make it recede even more. So it's just a way of playing with depth to make, because if you just put foundation on your face and leave it at that, you're going to look washed out. So these are just different techniques to keep you from looking washed out and giving your face more depth to add to the foundation. You can contour your cheekbones. There's even ways to make your lips look contoured by playing with shades of lip liners and stuff like that. The eyes can be contoured, and the temples, and also along the jawline. The idea of contouring is to give the face a more oval-like appearance. Now, I'm already an oval shape. I'm as oval as it gets, so I don't really contour as much, but I love doing it. I think it's absolutely amazing, and I'm going to show you how I do it. So the first thing, which is probably the most simple, is I take my under eye concealer, and this is Select Cover Up. Now this is part of what I use to highlight, because this is a shade lighter. Once again, high points of the cheekbone or high points of any part of the face, you want to use a lighter color. So what I do, this is my under eye concealer. I take my powder brush, and instead of applying it only under the eye, I actually apply it like all the way out here. Okay, so, and I'll just put a little bit on just so you can see. And that's going to give the illusion that my cheekbones are standing out more. So see how my nose ends there? I don't apply it lower than like the corner of my nose, but I do kind of extend it out to the high points of my cheekbones. And when you smile, you can see how it kind of, that color gradiates and lightens there. And I'm going to do the same here. I hope the lighting is good enough for this, you guys. I really hope you guys can see. And here, that lighter color is creating the illusion that my cheekbone is standing out more. Now the only thing about that is, in order to keep it from looking too awkward, take a powder that's the same as your face powder. That's the natural color of your foundation, and just only around the edges of where you applied that concealer, just set it so that it doesn't just go from dark to light, dark to light. This just helps it blend in with the rest of the face a little bit better. And I'm using Mineralized Skin Finish to do this. And I'm using my 129 blush brush just around the edges. So you still get that highlighting effect, but it doesn't like stand out as much. So there's two types of ways, like I said earlier, to contour the face. You can contour with powder, you can contour with cream products. I 9 times out of 10 prefer to use a cream powder on my cheeks because it always looks the most natural. So what I'm going to use, okay, don't laugh at me, you guys, but I'm using Studio Stick foundation. And Studio, I actually had to take home a sample of it because this is NW50. You want to go about a shade darker than your natural foundation shade. Now they didn't have NW50, so I just swiped a little bit and took a sample of it because I just wanted to try it out. But the good thing about stick is it makes it so much easier because it literally is a stick foundation. All you have to do is just take a little bit and just swipe and then swipe. Now I don't have the luxury of doing that because it's not in the stick form, so I'm just going to take my finger, and if you have to make this face, And wherever, when you make that face, in the low points, in the part that it sinks in, or even take your brush at the tip of your ear, right there. You literally want to push the brush underneath your cheekbone. That is where you contour. You want to be careful not to contour too high and not to contour too low because it will look unnatural. And this is just obviously something that it's going to take a little bit of practice because you don't get it the first time. And since you're playing with colors that aren't natural to your skin tone, you have to be very, very careful how you blend them and making sure to blend them properly. So at the tip of your ear, just use the tip of your ear as a guideline, just like that, okay? I have the foundation on my finger, looks like poop. I'm going to just run a streak mark, just like that. And you can even contour in a little bit of a W shape. People do that too. But you just really, 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 really want to be soft with these colors, okay? I'm going to do the same thing to my other side. The hollow point right underneath where my cheekbone sits, in the hollow part, okay? Just going to do a streak. And just to make it even, I'm going to do the little bit of W. Okay, my favorite brush to contour with, you obviously want to blend that out. So I'm going to be using my 109 brush. It's a really, really short buffer brush. I just love to buff things, okay? You can also use the 169 if you have this, anything that's like tapered with an edge, something that's kind of firm and dense. This particular brush, I believe was a limited MAC brush, but they do have a similar brush to this, and it's just all white. It's the exact same thing, same concept. Another one of my favorite brushes that I used to contour with is the 138. This one's a little deformed. I need to find a more effective way of shaping it, but it's just really, it kind of reminds me of like a genie bottle. It just points at the end and tapers, and it just really, really allows for a softer look. Whereas this one, for beginners, I'd either go with this one or this one. Okay, so now that we have that foundation applied, I'm just going to use really small circles to buff it out. And I'm just following along where I applied the foundation. I'm just buffing. That's all I'm doing. And you can, if it makes it easier to smile, do what you gotta do. And I'm gonna do the same over here. Just start buffing. And you just keep buffing it out till it looks a little bit more natural and just doesn't look like a harsh line. You want to buff that harshness out. And also, I kind of buff it out a little bit, like up and down where it starts, so that it just doesn't look like a line, an unnatural line. I just kind of buff it all up along like my jawline. And I'm going to do the same here. And there we go. Okay, so another way that you can contour the cheekbones is with powder. For me, my foundation color is NW45, so for those of you that are around the similar color, I like to contour with blunt blush. It's literally called blunt, like I'm sure you know what a blunt is. But all you have to do is just same technique, apply some of that blush to your powder and apply directly on top of where you applied the studio stick. And this whole, using the powder on top is just gonna set it and make it last longer. So I kind of like to use both. You're more than welcome to use the powder alone, but I like to use a little bit of both because it just looks more natural. And it lasts longer. No need to reapply throughout the day. And that's it. So I have a contoured cheekbone. Um, Next, I'm going to highlight. I'm going to be using another cream product. This is a cream color base by MAC. This is called Fawntastic. It's really, really pretty. Cream color bases are actually designed to use for all over the face. So, I get a lot of people who say, oh, they crease on me with my shadows a lot. Don't throw it away. You might be able to use it. And I like to use Fawntastic as a highlight. Another one of my favorite highlights for cream color bases is Hush by MAC, and one of my favorite powders to contour with, to highlight with, is Margin, and Comfort by one of the mineralized skin finishes from the Warm and Cozy collection. So those are just a few of my favorites. I'm just gonna do another finger action. Just gonna take my finger and along. If you have to smile, do this. It does help. Along the high points of the cheekbone, right along there, literally like where it looks the shiniest, I guess you could say. Smile if you have to, and just do a streak. You don't want it to be all up in here. Start at the high, start it right at the apple of your cheek, okay? And you can drag it back about all the way to your cheekbone. Then I'm going to do the same here. I feel like I'm like doing war paint right now. And I'm just going to put a little bit on the brush, and just buff it out. And then do the same here. And that's it. For my blush, I'm going to be using another cream blush. This is Optimistic Orange. You guys know I've been swearing by this in one of my other videos. This is from the Lilyland collection, and it's a cream blend blush. And I'm still working with the same brush. You guys, this is my favorite brush, okay? I'm just going to stipple that onto the brush, and then stipple that on just the apples. When I use the cream blushes, I only do these on the apple of my cheeks. I'm all for dragging it along the cheekbone, but I just like the natural flush of color with these blushes. And I'm just going to buff it out. So there you go. Now to set it, I'm going to use Peaches by MAC, and it's just a peach colored blush. And I'm going to use my 1/16 brush. I'm not going to use very much, just very, very little. And just apply it directly on top. And that is very simple. That's pretty much it, you guys. Contouring and highlighting is very, very simple. It is very, very easy to look sloppy though, so just practice at it. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. I really, really love this technique. And coming up when I started learning about makeup, I was told, oh, black girls, you don't really contour. We can only just highlight. There's not really a lot of products out there for us to contour. But I found what works for me. So let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching. Bye.